Welcome to Love Uncensored. My name is Terrin Ammar.
And I'm Terrin Ammar.
And today we are going to answer the question, why does most relationship advice not work or not last?
Yes, and it's a topic that we are both very passionate about.
So what do you think? What do you think it is?
Well, this was derived from a lot of different experiences that we have. And I don't know if you remember one of the first ones, but for me at least, and there's a lot of great relationship stuff put out there. We've talked about it. There are also a lot of couples influencers, and they preach the same thing of take your wife on date night, go on date night. That's going to improve your marriage. And I can tell you this, that there are relationships from my past that it does not matter how many date nights we would have gone on, that would not have fixed anything. It comes down to it being a deeper rooted conversation and transformation, which I'm going to let you share your quote that you say that's so good. But there's a deeper transformation and awareness that needs to happen.
You're going to let me share it?
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, I'm going to let myself receive you sharing such things.
If you heard our other podcast episode, you know why I said that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was good.
So when we were driving, I remember this thought came to me. This is when we were both like, that's it. External strategy without true internal transformation doesn't last or doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And remember when we were working with somebody and the man kept saying, I wish you would just say a different story. I wish you would say a different story about me, about the relationship. She keeps looking at something the same way and I just wish you would just see it differently. And our message to him was, she's so dysregulated and she thinks like her body really feels like, if you want to use a metaphor of her being attacked by a lion. And if you feel super scared and you feel like you're being attacked by a lion, and I'm like, hey, look at this painting on the wall. And let me share with you how beautiful it actually is. They cannot see the painting for what it's worth because their body is in a state of fear or dysregulation. Mm-hmm. In most relationships, by the time they go to look for strategies or go to get therapy and they're looking for, we should just do date night. We should tell each other what we're grateful for. That's all good.
Yeah.
But unless you can get to the root of what is dysregulating you, what is the pattern, what is the conditioning, like how can we ever really change? And unless you understand how to create true internal transformation, the external strategies are just Band-Aids.
Yeah, right? And you'll see things like, well, treat your wife like a queen, but how can she be treated like a queen if her nervous system is on fire because she doesn't know what's happening and going on? She can't even create the space to allow herself to be treated like a queen. There's going to create resentment and disconnect and all of these deeper things that need to happen. Because like you said, it's not that these are bad. Of course, date night's great. I love date night. I would love to go on date night. Let's go on date night tonight.
Yes.
And it's not but. And if you feel a disconnect in your relationship, there are things beyond strategy that get to be looked at in a loving way. Like I love in our relationship that there is such a depth in that area, that our depth goes to the place of we want to continue to grow and expand and connect in our relationship. And where is my resistance coming up? Where is your resistance coming up?
Right.
You know, and because it's the new level, new devil, like what new version we're stepping into, there are new elements within our relationship. We just came back from Serbia. And what did we both say? Like, I didn't think that I could be more connected and in love
100%.
with this man, but yet here we are, even more in love with each other than before.
That's literally what we said. I remember I looked at Terrin, I said, babe, I didn't think I could love you more. And I do. And do you remember when we first really started having these conversations, one of our first dates when we were in Utah, when I was living, in Utah, you were in Nevada. And one of our first dates, you're like, I'm coming to visit you. And I said, I signed up for a trauma healing event. Okay,
like our first weekend date ever. It wasn't just a date. It was like the first time I was coming here.
Like coming here to be here for the weekend with me. And I was like, I signed up for this event. It's a very in-depth, looking at your trauma, looking at your past event. I was like, I paid for it. I'm going to do it. So if you want to come, you're welcome. You just do it with me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, we're either going to be really tight after this or this is not going to
really
work.
Bad.
But either way, I knew my non-negotiables were someone that was seeking truth, someone that was doing the work, someone that, all these, I had my 5 non-negotiables, but there's always 2 big ones. Because I always said, if someone's really seeking truth and willing to do the work, we can always grow.
Yeah.
And it was cool because at the end of it, I remember both of us were in tears, even though in the beginning, like you would try to hide your tears. We were in tears and we just looked at each other and we were so honest and open with each other that vulnerability allowed us to be connected to each other.
And that took it so much farther, faster. Because of the depth of vulnerability that we got to experience together in that.
Absolutely.
Which was really cool. And, we had obviously both been doing the work. I had been doing the work in a different way. And that was the first I guess, workshop like that I had really ever done. And so, of course, there was part of me that was a little nervous. And at the same time, I was so excited just to see just openness and curiosity of like, okay, let's see what happens. We're going to.
Yeah. Because I know we were in relationships previously where us being who we were felt like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And dealing with our stuff, we couldn't really do it with our partners, you know, and that was really hard. And so for me, I knew that something in my next relationship that I really wanted was somebody that I could actually do the work with, because I know I'm still a work in progress. I'm always going to be a work in progress, right? You said new level, new devil. So when I reach a new level, you know, I'm going to hit new resistance points in my life, new fears. And I think that's why on our honeymoon, we believe that marriage is a magnifier. So whatever's really good is going to get magnified, and whatever you're not looking at is going to get magnified, right? And that's why we say everybody that's single, like, go with your eyes wide open and be honest, because marriage is a magnifier and a multiplier. And so I remember we looked at each other, and I looked at you and I said, so how are we going to fight?
And I just giggled.
She giggled. She's like, what do you mean how we're going to fight? And I was like, how are we going to fight? We're going to have rupture in our relationship. I was like, we're going to have rupture in our relationship. Not saying we're going to physically fight, because that's not, obviously, never. But, you know, we're going to have rupture. We're going to have disagreements. We're going to have some type of conflict, right? And I said, how can we use conflict to bring us closer rather than bring us apart? And we sat there and we had the conversation.
And it was so fun, actually. I recommend it to everyone. Of being able to have that conversation in what we would call a regulated, playful state is so much more powerful than trying to figure it out when you're completely activated and upset. Or, you know, we see couples in that all the time. We're like, let's set the blueprint right now. That's where we decided, like, we would never withdraw love from each other.
Right.
And it was the foundation that was so important. And I love that we're able to step deeper into that. Like every quarter, our goal is to have some sort of immersive event that we go to with each other. That isn't just, again, strategy. It's a cellular nervous system reset for both of us in connection with each other.
I think that would probably be, I think, the biggest contributor of our success. Is we're not only committed to our own depth of transcending our past and embodying the future we want individually, but we're also devoted to that within each other, right? And I think when we go back to why most strategies don't work, it's you and I still want to do, like, I know we still need to do, you know, I think behavior is the ultimate result of what's happening on the inside. So date nights, if we're doing date nights and we're feeling connected and feeling those things, that's a byproduct of the polarity within each other and how we're both feeling. Are we in a fear-based state in our life? Are we in a love-based state in our life? Are we for each other? Do we feel safe and connected to each other? And I think the reason why, when we came back from Serbia this last trip, why we felt so connected to each other was because we were so for each other. I had been challenged to do something that was very heavy for me to do.
Very big.
It was very big. And I looked at Terrin, and she was just so loving and supportive and just there for me as I was going out there to, like, put on this freedom warrior hat. And my protector was also there for her, because I was like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure she's okay. But both of us went back to this groundedness of how connected are we spiritually? How connected are we emotionally? Where are we in this space? And I remember knowing that in this world that could be so chaotic, she was the safest, most loving, most liberated being for me, that there was no one else I would want next to me. And I don't know if you remember this, I told you, I just got off stage and it was like 40,000+ people. And I looked at you and I said, I could perform on another Grammy Award-winning album. I could go speak to 1 million people. I could have everything that I've ever wanted. And I said, but it would never compare to the feeling that I have holding you right now. And I meant that. It was so true for me. And it wasn't because, oh, my wife is hot, or my wife has a good personality. She does, and she is hot. But it's like, the reality is you were like heaven for me in a world that feels chaotic sometimes. And I love that we can be there for each other in a way that you understand my fears, I understand your fears. You know, I understand your traumas and your upbringing and things that activate you, and you understand my traumas and things that activate me. And I want you to be the most free, and you want me to be the most free, and you want me to fulfill my purpose as a man, and I want you to be everything that God has created you to be. And the reason why we go back to strategies and why it takes strategy and depth is because if I wasn't aware, and I love that you say this, babe, all the time, you're like, there's 2 things that people need to understand for really good relationships. They need to understand the masculine and feminine polarity dynamic, and they need to understand their trauma and their own, and understand how the body works and how we get to integrate and go and transcend these fears that we have.
I have to get a tissue.
If you're listening, she's
You made
getting
me
it.
cry.
Yeah.
yeah, like how lucky am I to be loved and cherished by you? Because I remember when you said that to me, to witness you in a moment that was really big, like one that we probably will never be able to really tell the full extent of. But to me, like all I ever wanted since I was little was to be married to a man that I was honored to be his wife, that I was so proud to be next to him and stand next to him and to be so devoted to him, and to witness you in that moment. And I remember I took a video of you before you went on stage. You turned around and you blew a kiss to me. And it's a moment that you're going out on stage in front of 50,000 people, and you could have made that moment totally about yourself, but you looked at me as if you're here with me. I honor you. I see you. You're with me in this. And to me, that's like hashtag goals, right? And I say this so humbly, so humbly, but there's not a single relationship dynamic, not a celebrity couple, not a guru's couple, not anyone that I can look at their relationship and think I want that over what this is, because of the work that we have done and the path that we have fought so hard for, and who we have fought to become in this, to show up for each other in the way that we have, because I am absolutely the luckiest girl ever.
Yeah, I love you. I'm so grateful for you.
Mess up my makeup though.
And I'll say, it's interesting because I think relationship and love is one of the hardest things, honestly. Like, it really is. It's one of the most rewarding.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most it's hard because it's vulnerable. It's hard because we're in a world conditioned by fear. We're in a world of hurt. All of us have pain. All of us have hurt. All of us have patterns. And we saw our parents, and most of them weren't perfect. All of them weren't perfect, And as children, we develop these belief systems. It's interesting, even biologically, I was thinking about this, babe. Like, when we're born, we're meant to cry when we need something, and it's about me, because if I'm not loud, then I won't get food, and this and that. But at some point, if they want to call it born again, it's really being born into love. Mm-hmm. It's being born to understand and learning to love yourself, and learning to love people, and learning to love the divine, right? And so in the Christian basis, when you hear, what the greatest commandment is, it's love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbors as yourself. And I think a lot of times in the world, we want to just love other people. We don't treat ourselves with the kindness and compassion and the care that we really need to. And I'll tell you, I was telling someone about you yesterday, and they're like, well, what does your wife do? And I was like, well, she has something called the Queen Collective. And they're like, Queen Collective? And I was like, yeah, it's like, because, she's been through a lot. And I said, her past, she's had a very traumatic, abusive ex-relationship and very narcissistic ex-relationship. And she navigated through it. And when she got to the other side, she really wanted to help women never have to go through that and experience the freedom that she experienced afterwards, to know that there's hope. Mm-hmm. And I look at your life and I'm like, you could have chosen to stay in bitterness, stay upset, stay where you were, but there's something so sacred about saying, I'm going to go inward and I'm going to do this healing work. And one thing Dr. Joe Dispenza said that I love so much, he said, what happens when you actually resolve your past and change the memory and reframe the memory of the past? He said, it goes into your soul as wisdom. Mm. And I love that, because remember when you were speaking at the retreat and you're sharing fear-based, love-based feminine archetypes, and I'm hearing you speak, and I know it's not just theory. It's actually learned, it's experienced. When someone's been through something, they experience it. So if you're listening to this and you've experienced something, it could turn together for your good in the most beautiful way. I speak about being free from fear and being the most free and the most confident and the most liberated and stepping into everything that God has made me to be. Because at one point in my life, I was the most afraid. I felt like I was the most passive. Seriously, sometimes I feel like if I could plug you into my brain and you could hear, you could see my past, you would think anything is possible. And so the reason why we say strategy alone is not enough is because we know most of the operating system we operate in is subconscious, right? Think about it. You drove today, or if you drive, and did you even think about the exit that you went off of? Or your heart's beating right now without you having to think about it. Like they say, depending on who you study, 90 to 95% of the things that happen in our life are subconscious, which means most of our life is a pattern. Mm-hmm. So unless we understand our patterns from a loving, compassionate way, and we understand the dynamic of how to actually truly create change on the inside, we're going to keep running the same pattern. Maybe put some lipstick on it.
Yeah. And I love that you spoke to lived embodied experience, because even with the strategy that we see, and again, a lot of it is good, and it can come from this cognitive conscious space of like, oh, I learned this thing, that's what is supposed to happen here, I'm going to teach it to others, because I'm so big on, I want to learn from people who are where I want to be. And so, and this sounds so, like Alex Hormozy posted a quote the other day, which I love him. And it sounds a little harsh, but at the same time, it's kind of true. And it says, nobody wants to take marriage advice from single people. And what I believe he means behind that is you want to learn from someone who has a lived, embodied experience. There is a difference, just like I teach women about feminine embodiment. You can consciously learn something all day long, but until you get into embodiment and you feel what it feels like to be in the feminine, to feel what it feels like to be in the masculine, to feel what it feels like with a true, connected, loving relationship, to feel safety in that. Otherwise, it's just strategy. It's not, it doesn't mean that you're living it or capable of living it emotionally. That's why I go back to treating your wife like a queen. You know, there can be resistance to certain aspects of our marriages in that way. So,
and this kudos to everybody reading the books and doing the strategy. We're inviting you to go a level deeper.
yeah.
You know, a level deeper of what are your patterns? What are your limitations? What are the things you keep doing? Where do you feel the most fear or resistance in your life? How do you really feel about yourself? How do you really feel about your spouse? What are the things you're not really saying? Because I'm going to make a bold statement, and I know you'll agree with this. Most people's relationships are being run by their childhood. What? So
95%,
how many of
I would
you
say.
have seen a grown person throw a tantrum like they're 9 years old? Me. How many of you have thrown a tantrum like you're 9 years old? Me, right? My mentor told me something. She said, you could tell the age of the person's unhealed trauma by the age they act when they're activated or triggered. And I was like, dude, my dad used to throw a tantrum like he was 9. Guess what? My dad's dad died when he was 9. My dad started smoking and drinking when he was 9. He had to mature early when he was 9. And if you have to mature early as a child, then that creates an anxious or a dysregulated response in your system, right? You never really get to grow up per se. And so, and when you get in an argument in your relationship, my inner child fights with your inner child. And how many of you have seen children fight? Who wins? Nobody. You know, and sometimes they go on, but nobody does. And in your relationship, you're like, oh my gosh, I could see I resort to like a certain temperament or temper when I get activated, or so does my spouse. And now our inner children are fighting, and nobody wins when inner children fight. So the reason why we say that is whatever you study, whether it's internal family systems therapy or any other kind of therapy that you do, as long as it's actually a true integration in your body of healing work, because Terrin and I have a different format of saying this, so I'll say mine and you can say yours, babe. Like, I really believe you can't really change unless you have these 3 things. Before you get to these 2 things, the road you need is complete radical honesty with radical love, loving self-awareness. Where exactly are you with your fears, limitations, patterns, behaviors, identities, everything? Where are you right now? Truly. How happy are you? Where are you at in your polarity in your relationship? Where are you at in your healing work? All that stuff. And then the second part of identification is, where do you really want to be? What is truly the magic wand of where you want to be? What do you want to feel? What kind of relationship do you want? Impact do you want? And when you know where you are and where you want to be, then you get to go to these 3 things. And I really believe if you miss one of these 3 things, you're going to have a very hard time moving forward. And that's why strategy is not enough. First, there's a past, present, future element. First, you have to resolve your past. All the things in my past that have happened in my past that still try to show up, it's because they're unresolved and they're unintegrated, right? So if you don't resolve your past, it's going to keep coming up. And how many of you have been through any kind of coaching where they're like imagine sprinting and the coach is like, run faster, push harder, and there's a parachute behind you. You're like, I'm trying, but I feel so much resistance. It's because there's something in your past that doesn't feel safe enough to go in your future. So if your nervous system doesn't feel safe enough in the future that you want, you're going to have resistance. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's financial, whether it's impact, whether it's anything that you want, your nervous system has to feel safe enough to get there. The second one is you have to learn how to master your emotions in the present moment. Because if you don't have control over your emotions, and you can have emotions, but don't let emotions have you, right? If you are in your, as Mastin Kipp would say, you're in your emotions, not with them, then you're going to have a hard time moving forward because you're going to be run by your past, because emotions are really records of your past trying to predict the future. And then the third thing you need is the future. What is the desired future that you want? You need to be able to embody and change the wiring in your mind around the identity, the behaviors, the belief system, the conditioning to be in the future that you want. for me to go from passive Henry to confident Henry standing on stage in front of 40-something thousand people and freaking going nuts, which I never would have thought that would be me, I had to resolve the past Henry, the little Henry that was scared to speak up. I had to learn to master my nerves in the moment, because the first time I got on that stage, I've been there probably like 20 times, but I was freaked out, you know? And then I had to learn to embody the energy and the presence of a speaker that goes on stage and is able to ignite and inspire tens and tens of thousands of people and hold their attention. I had to embody that energy, because if I wouldn't have done that, I would be out there like, hi guys, my name is Henry. It's like, that's not the energy of a festival or energy of a massive crowd, where I had to create the certainty in myself that I didn't have before. So you have to resolve the past, master your emotions in the present, and really learn how to embody and change yourself on a cellular level, on an internal level. And when you learn how to do those things, this is more than strategy. It's more than just go look in the mirror and say, I'm so great, I'm so great, I'm powerful, I'm confident. How many of you done that? And all you hear back is, yeah, right. There has to be a true shift, and it has to be a lot deeper. And I'll tell you right now, why most advice doesn't work is because, yes, the strategies work, but we're inviting you to go a level deeper.
Yeah, because most couples are on autopilot,
Yeah.
and even the date nights, right? Is it because I keep thinking the word quality comes into quality or quantity? You know, it's like, okay, we're having date night, but how joyful is the date night? How connected is the date night? Are you sitting on your phones? Is it really the next evolution? Like for us, we want to continually evolve. And I think that's our invitation is, you know, love yourself exactly where you are, like you say, and love your relationship enough not to stay there. Like, what is the next phase of your relationship? Because just like us, you know, which we're madly in love with each other. We came home from Serbia even more connected and loving, and it just gets us even more excited we know there's even more. And we're such seekers of growth and expansion in that, and it's exciting. It's something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be scary and heavy all the time. Honestly, I think that's what couples are most scared of, is that they don't want to feel too deeply because they feel like the bomb is going to go off, right? Where I will say it doesn't have to be so scary, and deal with your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, let it
You
come.
said something that was so, you said a lot of things that are so good. When you said, when you're sitting on date night and someone's on their phone, you could be like, hey man, we want to get our relationship right. So this date night's not supposed to be on our phone. But what if you ask the question, why is she on her phone? Why is he on his phone?
Yeah.
Why does he need to feel disconnected here?
Yeah.
And why not step back, create a vision together of what you want? Loving identification, identify where you want, what you really want to be, and then identify where you are, and then do the work to get there. What about your relationship do they feel like they have to check out in? You can go through the process and say, okay, I'm gonna put my phone away. But while you're sitting there, you're like, oh my gosh, this is really awkward. Like, what are we doing? But what if you could create a vision that's so exciting and so powerful to say, you know what? Let's create a vision of where we want to go, and let's be willing to do the work that it needs to go there. I'll do my part. I'm going to learn masculine, feminine dynamics. I'm going to step into my masculinity. I'm going to step into this. It's going to be uncomfortable, but guess what? We're together on this. We're going to keep going, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and we're going to celebrate the wins every moment, and we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to understand my own patterns and habits and belief systems. And yes, it might take some time to change. We might have a messy middle where it's really uncomfortable, but I'm willing to do this because I love you, and I'm not just going to go check the box off and say I had a date night, but still feel cold or alone on the inside.
Yeah, just to check a box.
Right.
Just to say, oh, but we do date night. It's
Right.
not, that's why to me it's the quality. And like even for us, like we're doing a 30-day challenge
right now.
which is right now, and Henry is like, he's uber, like this is his masculine of like, like he sets his mind to something, this man will do it and accomplish it, which is so hot, by the way. But like he's doing his, and part of his is the embodiment of the masculine and his core energy in that masculine, and mine, you know, is in the feminine.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of different things in it, but it's because we crave evolution and expansion in that.
Yeah, and it's done with intention, right? Taryn told me, she's like, babe, I know you're going to go do your martial arts and Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm going to go do heels class.
Heels
You know, and I was like,
class.
great. But we're doing it with the intention. So I'll give you an example. You can go through the motions. I can just go to those classes, or I can go in. I remember very specifically, there was a guy in front of me, and he was very strong and very big and very buff and very strong. And I remember thinking, if you could stay present when a fist is being thrown at you, you could stay present in the chaos of life.
Yeah.
So there's an intentionality to what we're doing, right? And honestly, I've done this work for 28 years. And Terrin and I looked at each other. Remember, we looked at each other. It's like, one of the three things is I want us to be spiritually where we want to be, and I want to release all emotions from our past that are not serving us, because I know it will have an impact on us physically. Yeah. And Terrin and I still are working through stuff, right? Like things that come up, because When something comes up, it means you're ready to transcend it and you're ready to heal it.
Yes.
So if Terrin's activated by something in her life, or I'm activated by something in life, I don't look and be like, oh, great, something else. I'm like, thank you. This means I'm ready to transcend it. This is the opportunity to be more free, to be more powerful, to be more loving, a better husband, a better father, a better leader, a better impact maker, a better income driver, a better businessman, a better lover of people. Right? And that's what's so beautiful is whatever comes up for you, let it lead you to greater freedom, because every trigger is an invitation to show you where you're not free. So if we're reactive in something, this just means we get to be more free. So the fact that like we can get to from where I was to where I am, I'm like, dude, if I got here in this many years, where can I be in another 5 years? You know, one of my favorite quotes, it sounds really funny when I say it. If we haven't spoken in over a year, please allow me to reintroduce myself. And I have a song with a really amazing artist that I have music that's not out, but I went to go see her in concert. She's incredible. She has billions of views on YouTube. And I remember seeing her and she texted me, she goes, Henry, it's so amazing to see like where you've gone and how far you've come. And I texted her back and I said, you know what's crazy? I remember the person that I was when we were both in LA, living there, having a conversation. And I feel like that was a completely different person. And I'm grateful because I feel like he was pretty cool back then, but I get to be more cool and you get to be more cool. This isn't like, oh, I'm so great. But yes, like own your greatness and continue to be more. Am I perfect? No way. Do I have lots to work on? Heck freaking yes. But it's like you got to love yourself where you are and love yourself enough not to stay there.
I was going to say, I think you're so cool.
Thanks, babe.
I think you're the best.
So
wait, I was going to ask you something.
Yeah.
Okay, because I see you, I always say this, you're like the couple's whisperer. I feel like you're like the best communicator and translator. I know, but you're like the couple's whisperer where it's like a couple, each person will be trying to say a certain thing to the other and they're trying to basically say the same thing, but Henry translates it so that they can understand it. But anyway, since we're talking about, you know, the external strategy versus the internal transformation for couples who are probably listening to this saying, but we do date night, but what else are we supposed to do? If you were to pick like the one place for them to start on this type of journey to get out of autopilot instead of the external strategy, where would they start for the internal transformation that can get them to a level of connection that they desire?
the starting point
Yeah.
is true loving self-awareness. And please keep listening, because some like self-awareness, yeah, right. No, like radical honesty about where you are, but doing it with radical love, understanding a trauma-informed approach to awareness. And what that means is everything you're doing has a positive intention. It's Dr. Stephen Porges says, every behavior is adaptive. It's adapted to find more connection and safety. And a lot of times we're reenacting our youth. And so you cannot change what you reject. And a lot of people are so hard on themselves that they're not honest enough, because most people tell themselves enough truth to be uncomfortable, but not enough truth to be free. Most of us look and we're like, oh, I know it's not good. I know it's not good. But what if you just leaned in a little more with compassion and grace and actually went into what's happening on the inside of you in terms of your body and understanding this? So the first step is loving self-awareness. And the second step I would say that goes right after that, in addition to it, is really start going and understanding trauma, understanding why your body does what it does in fear-based living versus love-based living, and understanding what is true masculinity and true femininity. Mm-hmm. And so we have a free guide on love-based, fear-based masculine archetypes. Download that. Yeah, just go, we'll put the link in the show notes. Just download that. And you can look and say, okay, where am I operating in fear in my life? And what does it look like to operate in love? And then you could start going down the rabbit hole to do this sacred work. And the third thing I would say, loving deep, radical honesty. I mean, like, where am I really at? Where are we at in our relationship? 1 to 10, is this the life I want to live and be happy with living in the rest of my life? Mm-hmm. And, you know, most people will say no, even if it's good, because you're ambitious, and that's okay. Like, I love our relationship and I can't wait to be more in love with you, and I can't wait to do more with you. Like, I literally told you the other day, I was like, I can't wait to have this next season of life with you, because I could see the next level. But it's like, what is truly my pattern? And then going into understanding the dynamics of trauma and relationships, and then understanding polarity. And the third thing is go and lovingly start doing the work. And you're gonna know what the work is by the next step that comes up for you. Yeah. It doesn't have to be everything. If it's not through our programs, go find somebody that teaches polarity. Go study someone that teaches trauma. Go listen to Gabor Mate or Mastin Kipp or Dr. Frank Anderson or all these. There's so many amazing people that talk about, you know, what happens in your body. Because the reality is, if you're running a fear-based operation because of the past, you're gonna have a really hard time being free to go to the future that you want. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing for me personally is, how do you set yourself free to be everything that God has made you to be on this earth and have the love that you desire? Because what are we all looking for in this life is to be loved. I'm going to say this very bluntly. Some of us are looking so much to be loved outside of ourselves, but we're not willing to love ourselves. Mm. We're not willing to
Yes.
really look at ourselves with grace and compassion. How many of you just beat yourself up all the time, or think you're not enough, or think you have to keep on earning love or performing love? Erwin McManus said the best quote. He said, you have to perform from your worth, not for your worth. So it's integrating so much wholeness within yourself that you're not walking around in a fear-based state all the time. You're not a robot. You're actually a living organism that's walking in love and presence.
Yeah.
That was more than one thing.
I
but
love
that's
that. No,
my-
that was great,
that's my
because
heart.
I'll add to that you don't have a date night problem, you have a polarity problem.
Right.
And the polarity rooted in the masculine feminine dynamic is then rooted in the nervous system.
Yep.
When you understand those simple things, everything will shift within your relationship, and being open to it. It's a beautiful lens to see more deeply, see your partner more deeply, to love them more deeply, to show up for them more deeply. Like, I want nothing more than to show up for this man and to help him win and to lift him up. And I know for a fact that's absolutely what not only he does for me, but how he makes me feel.
Yeah. The
Fully,
way you
so.
make me feel. And absolutely. And so when we say nervous system, we don't mean like you got to go in and like do something to your body. This is a safety thing. This is a way to create safety within your own self. This is a way to get regulated, a way to live life alive rather than on autopilot. This is a way to choose life. And so we're inviting
Yes.
everybody in this podcast episode here is just be aware of where you are. Do the deeper work. Learn what it means to actually be free on the inside so you can be free on the outside. What is the internal transformation that is needed to have the external transformation last? And how can you be able to look at each other and say, I'm more in love with you because I'm fighting this with you, not against you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's you and me versus this external thing that's trying to separate
Yeah.
us.
It's not you
me
versus
and you.
me. Yeah.
Like it's you and I, right? And so that's the thing. It's like we are partners. You are mine and I'm yours, and we are together. Your needs are my needs and my needs are your needs, and your fears are my fears and my fears are your fears. So let's come together and let's freaking transcend this thing, you know? And so we're just inviting you that understanding, like do the date nights, do the things, and have the conversation of where you really want to be and be honest about where you are and dive in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, because I mean, the whole reason, honestly, we started this podcast is because we believe in extraordinary love.
Yes.
We believe in elite level loving mastery, relational mastery with each other, because this life is too short
Yes.
to live in anything less than that. I want to be so deeply connected and passionate and just loving towards my husband at the ultimate form, in the ultimate form.
Yeah.
And that's our invitation.
And passion, intimacy, connection, love, communication, everything. When you're walking in a love-based state, all that is magical. We want you to know it's possible, like 100% possible. I never thought it was.
Me neither.
I really didn't think it was. I was hoping it was, but I didn't know there was a love like this. And we'll end with this. I remember on our wedding day, I literally fell on my knees in the morning and I just thanked God for all the things that didn't work out that I prayed for. And it all prepared me for this. And so whatever struggles you go through, that's the next thing of growth for you. And all the things that I went through prepared me to be the man that hopefully Terrin is speaking of me about. And I just want to love her. And I just want to be the most safe, loving, elevating, liberating, beautiful, spirit-filled, emotionally grounded, present, masculine energy for her so she could flourish and be everything that she is. That's my goal. That's my life. And guess what? When I'm that, I'm also liberated with myself and I can go fulfill my purpose in life. And so we just invite you. We want you to know there's so much hope. There's so much like love for you. I'm going to give Terrin the final words on this. And I know I'm so passionate. I just run with things. But babe, you've been such a blessing to me. And I'm just so grateful for your love, your support. You've given me new experiences I never knew were possible. And the work that we've been able to do together, I did not know we can grow to this. And I think if we just keep doing this, like where we'll be is going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited for it.
I love you so much.
Love you a lot.
You make me cry all the time. Good, happy tears. It's so cute. Earlier, you were talking about like, you are mine, I am yours. And for those who watch movies, I was like, you are my squishy and you will be mine and you will be my squishy, which is from Nemo. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in to our podcast. And again, this is just the invitation of don't settle for where your relationship is at.
Yes.
Because if we can find love after I know the hell that I was in and experienced in just life and trauma, and then to be in this heaven, beyond heaven, I don't have words. There are truly no words that are beautiful enough for me to say, to describe the marriage, the partnership, the devotion.
It's so worth it.
Within this.
This work is so worth it.
Just know that there is hope and it is absolutely possible. So
Yes. So thank you so much. Share this with anybody you know. that can use this. And we appreciate you, and stay tuned. And until next time, bye-bye. See ya.